Welcome to today's video where I want to start by applauding you. If you've made it to this video and you've been watching my videos from the last couple of weeks, then what you have realized is there are a number of different ways to solve a quadratic written in ax squared plus bx plus c form. I taught you guys how to graph them. You can just graph them out, find where the 2 points are that hit the x-axis, where that parabola goes boom, and where it hits the x-axis. Those are your two solutions. We figured that out. Graphing's tricky though. Graphing can take a lot of time on graph paper. It's a lot to do. Then I taught you how to factor them. And you're like, sweet, okay, cool. I'll take the C value, I'll push it off to the side, I'll list out my factors of it, find the one that adds up to make the B. But factoring, we realized on my previous video, doesn't always work. There's scenarios where, depending on what the values are, you can't factor it out. So then you learn completing the square. Some people love completing the square. It's their go-to. Personally, it's not mine, okay, but it is a way to do them. And then I want to finish by teaching you the one that I go to more often than not, and that is the quadratic formula. I like the quadratic formula because I've had it memorized for a long, long time, which that's step one. You have to memorize it. So it is on you to read it over and over and over again until it sticks. All right, write it down, and write it down again until you have each part of it memorized, because it is a lot. I'm going to write it down right over here for you, but all a formula is just something that if you plug numbers in, it spits the answer out for you. So here is the quadratic formula. It is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Woo! Yeah, that's a lot. I know. I feel your pain right now. Okay? It does look like a lot to memorize, but if you practice this and you keep writing it down over and over and over and over again, you will have it memorized. You go around the world, you ask any mathematician, any math teacher, anybody that works with quadratics, okay, what's a quadratic formula? They'll be able to spit that out like no problem. It's stuck up here because they've done it over and over and over again. So it is on you to memorize this. I highly recommend on the other end of that screen right now, you copy this down on your own blank piece of paper. Copy it down, put it somewhere you're going to see it until you memorize it. All right? Now, how do I use it? I just take each variable and I replace it with parentheses. Okay, so congratulations on graphing, congratulations on factoring, congratulations on completing the square. Let's learn our last and final way to solve a quadratic. Here we go. I'm going to say parentheses with a negative before it because it's a negative b. I'm going to say plus or minus, and then I'm going to put that square root symbol. It's a long square root because I have information to put in. I have parentheses squared minus 4 times a parenthesis and another parenthesis because I need to put my a and my c in. And then I'm going to divide it all by 2 times parentheses. Now what I will tell you is when you first start memorizing it, you'll have parts of it. You'll be like, oh, I know it's 2a on the bottom, but I can't remember what goes here. Okay? Just keep practicing, keep trying to memorize it. It will eventually come. All right, so here we go. Your information's up here. That's your A, that's your B, that's your C. So where there's a B, put a 5 because your B value is a 5. There's another B right there. We need to put a 5. There's an A, so that needs to be a 2. And there's a C, so that needs to be a 3. Here is an A, so we're going to put a 2. Smooth. All right, now we just work it out. Do it in bits and pieces. First part, very simple. Negative 5 is just going to be negative 5. Plus or minus the square root of 5 squared. Do that. Change that right now. 5 squared is a 25. Minus 4 times 2 times 3. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And negative 8 times 3 is negative 24. Over 2 times 2, which is just 4. Okay, so I just did this part here. Boom. Put it right there. I did this information right there. Change it to this. And then 2 times 2 on the bottom just changes it to a 4. All right. 25 minus 24. Now you want to simplify what's in the square root. So copy this down as you see it. negative 5 plus or minus the square root of, change this. That is now the square root of 1 over 4. All right? Now we say plus or minus because the square root of a value can be a positive or a negative. So we're going to say negative 5 plus the square root of 1, which we all know the square root of 1 is just 1. So negative 5 plus 1 over 4. And then we're going to say negative 5, the second option, minus 1 over 4. We have 2 parts to finish here, and we're going to have our solutions. Negative 5 plus 1, that gives you a negative 4 over 4. Negative 5 minus 1, negative 6 over 4. Simplify each one out, and those are our solutions. Negative 4 divided by 4 is a negative 1. Boom, circle it. That's one solution. Negative 6 divided by 4 is negative 1.5. That's your second solution. We have our 2 solutions to this quadratic. You can write them out, as always, as coordinates, negative 1, 0, and negative 1.5, 0. All right, that is the quadratic formula. That is how you do it. You just copy down the information and work it out. Biggest thing is, can you memorize that right there? All right, take a glance at it, take it all in, find what method works best for you. Completing the square will always work, quadratic formula always works, factoring will work sometimes, graphing will work, but it's a lot of work to do. So find which one works best for you once you're done practicing them all. Hopefully you know them all, study hard, and good luck on your upcoming test.